Hey everyone, Happy New Year. It is 2023. This is my first video of the year and I'm so excited to be back filming videos. I took a little bit of a break for the holiday season just to spend time with family, and then we were out of town visiting our other family. So we definitely had like a long extended holiday celebration, which was so nice. I'm so thankful for the time that we had together, and I hope you guys had an amazing holiday season as well. I am so excited for January. I feel like the new year is just such a refreshing time of the year, and there's just something about a new year that I love. There's like that extra motivation. It's exciting, it's refreshing, so I cannot wait. When it comes to the new year and makeup, I love this time of the year because a lot of the drugstore brands are launching new collections, new products, and I can't wait to see what they have in store. I did purchase some new products, so I'll do a video testing them out. But before I do that, I really wanted to focus on some tried and true favorites that I'm definitely going to be bringing with me into 2023 and continue to use. These really have been a staple part of my makeup routine. So today's video is kind of like my everyday makeup routine, but also older favorites I love so much that I know are going to be staples in this next year as well. I always try to focus on striking a balance between reviewing new makeup and using what I have. That's why I do my everyday makeup drawer series where I rotate through my older products and use them seasonally. But I feel like I could always be better at that, and I really want to enjoy what I have. I have so many good products that I discovered last year and even before that that I love, that I just don't want to forget about. So today's video is kind of focusing on that. These products are just favorites. They're staples. Some are a little bit newer than others, but they're just really, really good options that I'm definitely planning on using more as we head into the new year. The first thing I want to talk about is something I should have mentioned in my yearly favorites, but I kind of forgot about it for a little while. It's the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter. When e.l.f. launched this, I was curious, but I wasn't necessarily as ecstatic as a lot of people because the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter was never like a staple part of my routine. I think it's really nice e.l.f. came out with this alternative because it is less expensive, but I had tried the Charlotte Tilbury product years ago and I just never really fell in love with it. I couldn't make it work for me. I know a lot of people use this as like their only base product, and then they might apply a little bit of concealer, but they use it kind of as like a glowy foundation. For me, that's just really not ideal for my skin type or the way I like to wear my makeup. But the way I've been using this product is I've been mixing it with my foundation. I've done that in the past, but it really has become a staple part of my routine because I find that the texture of this product shears out my foundation just a little bit and it adds a really natural glow. Most of my foundations are more on the matte side, maybe like the somewhat satin side, but I don't have a ton of super glowy foundations because in my experience, not a lot of them have really lasted well on my skin. So I love this product because it doesn't change the texture a ton. I feel like it makes it look a little bit more skin-like, but it adds a really beautiful, natural, luminous glow. And it's customizable. You can use a little bit, you can use a lot of it, and I just love it for that purpose so much. So I've been mixing it in with my Catrice foundation a ton, and I feel like my foundation looks a little bit more natural. Like you can definitely see my freckles a little bit more like on my forehead, my cheeks, and that's kind of been my goal lately. You know, I used to go in and spot conceal, and then I would layer this foundation up and make it look really full coverage or go in with a heavier foundation. And these days I want something a little more skin-like. I like this combo because it does cover redness, it adds that glow, but you'll see as I apply the products that my natural skin does still kind of show through. It's not a light coverage foundation, but I feel like for me, it's long wearing, it's medium coverage, it's perfect for every day. And mixing this in really does give me like that natural luminosity without having a luminous foundation that melts off my face in a few hours. So this has been a staple for me. I love this product. It's also really nice as like a very subtle liquid highlighter too, but mixing this into foundation has been my ideal use for it. One thing I'm leaving behind in 2022 would be like heavy or full coverage concealers. I feel like typically full coverage concealers end up looking kind of cakey on me. There are some lighter options like the KVD Good Apple. I really enjoy that one. But I was asking myself, like, why am I wearing such heavy full coverage concealer? Because it always ends up looking bad, like right around my nose and then also right in this area where I deal with a little bit of texture. So I actually started skipping concealer. A lot of the time I just won't use it and I'll take whatever's left on my foundation brush and just go under my eyes. But on days when I am wearing concealer, I'm usually reaching for something a little bit lighter. So these are the two concealers I'll definitely be focusing on as we head into the new year. The first one is from Saie. This is their Hydrabeam concealer. So I have the shade HB2. I feel like I could go with the first shade. They had sent me one in PR a while ago in the shade 3 or 4, which was a little bit dark, so I was kind of mixing it with other concealers. I purchased 2, which I feel like is just still slightly too dark. I might actually pick up 1, but I feel like when spring hits and I'm out in the sun a little bit, this will probably match me a little bit better. This is a really pretty luminous formula. This does not have a ton of coverage at all, so if that's what you're looking for, this won't be ideal. It's definitely a light coverage concealer, but it has the most gorgeous, glowy, luminous finish. It's almost like you mixed your concealer with a little bit of the e.l.f. Halo Glow liquid filter, which I feel like you could do. But I love the texture of this because it's very smooth, really creamy. It blends out in seconds and it just adds like a touch of luminosity to your under eyes. It does tend to crease, as will all concealers if you apply something under your eyes and you deal with fine lines. But I think the key for me has just been using like a very small amount of concealer, not anything too intense. And if that's the case, the creasing is definitely minimized. I think a lighter texture with a smaller amount of concealer really makes such a difference because it doesn't end up looking cakey around my nose. It doesn't look heavy under my eyes. And I just really enjoy this formula on days where I want more of a luminous, glowy look. I also love this product. This came out, I want to say maybe 2 years ago, and I've been using it ever since. It's the e.l.f. Flawless Brightening Concealer. So I have 2 shades. I kind of mixed them together. I'll swatch it for you. I would say this one is not quite as luminous as the Saie concealer. So if you don't want anything super glowy under the eyes, but you still want like a lighter, softer texture, this is perfect. It's definitely not a full coverage concealer. Again, it's more on the light to, I wouldn't even say medium side. I would say it's definitely a light coverage concealer that just provides a touch of brightness under the eyes. It's so pretty, so soft, so natural, so I really enjoy this. I've heard people say this is a dupe for a YSL concealer, which I haven't tried, but it might be worth trying if you enjoy that one or if you like something similar because it's very natural on the skin. So 2023 was the year of cream cheek products across the board, like creams and liquids, and I really did fall in love with so many formulas, and I'm just excited to have discovered ones that work for me because I feel like creams and liquids look so good on the skin. I never thought that would be the case for me, but they just look really natural, and I feel like they sit on the skin better than powders, and I just really enjoy them so much. So as we head into the new year, I'm going to be focusing on a lot of cream and liquids that I purchased because I bought them and I really want to enjoy them even more. So you guys, I've been using the ColourPop Super Shock Cheek products a ton. And it's so funny to me because when ColourPop launched these years ago, I couldn't get into them. They had the Super Shock bronzers a few years ago and then I think they relaunched them last year. I recently hit pan on this one because it's pretty much all I've been using other than the other product I'll share with you in just a second. This one is in the shade Get Sandy. This is like my perfect everyday natural bronzer. I could maybe go like a shade darker if I wanted something a little bit more intense, but I feel like it's just very natural on my skin. And if you're someone who is intimidated by creams and you want to get into them, the Super Shock formulas are the perfect formula to try, even if you're not a fan of the Super Shock eyeshadows, because these are basically like a cream putty hybrid. If you've tried the e.l.f. putty products and they've been a little bit too dry for you, try the ColourPop Super Shock products because they're a little bit creamier. They're very blendable, super easy to work with, and they just sit on the skin in such a pretty way. People describe them as like a cream to powder, and I guess I would say that's accurate. Once you apply them, they dry down somewhat, but I feel like a cream to putty or like a cream putty hybrid makes more sense to me than a cream to powder. They're really, really nice. I would say that as I apply them, I wouldn't say they lift my foundation, but I almost lose like a little bit of coverage. But for me, that's perfectly fine because again, I've been going for like a slightly more natural base. I think when it comes to powder, like you apply your foundation, when it comes to powder products, like you apply your foundation, you set your foundation. So when you apply a powder cheek product on top, typically you're not losing like a lot of coverage or your foundation isn't lifting. But for me, when I'm wearing creams and liquids, I usually apply them directly on my foundation before setting. So naturally some of that foundation is going to move around. And again, I don't mind that because I have been going for like a slightly more natural base. And I feel like if my foundation picks up a little bit, you just end up seeing like more of my natural skin, my freckles and things like that. So I love this. I think it looks so good on the skin. It takes seconds to apply. You can build it up and you just don't really end up going overboard. I've also been loving the ColourPop Super Shock blushes so much. These look so good on the skin. And I just checked ColourPop's website yesterday and they actually have a ton of shades right now. I think they brought back a lot of their staple shades because I think a lot of people were complaining at one point that ColourPop was just always launching new products and and they weren't necessarily restocking older products. And I do think they maybe listened to the feedback a little bit, because last time I was on their website, I think just yesterday, they had a ton of different options. So I'll swatch two of my favorites for you, but my favorite shade, you guys, is Brute Flute. It is so pretty on the cheeks. I'm not wearing this today because I'm wearing another product, but I've been wearing this one nonstop, and typically I'll just take a brush that I might use for like liquid foundation, stipple it in here, stipple it on the cheeks, and it looks amazing on the skin. So, so pretty. I do think they have matte blushes, but I really like the pearlized finish. Of course, I'll be bringing my Makeup Revolution Ultra Cream Bronzer with me into 2023. This is such a gorgeous bronzer. I think it is like my ideal cream bronzer formula. On days when I'm not wearing the ColourPop one, I'll reach for this one. These are very, very different. The ColourPop one is, I mean, it's a matte finish. It's very natural, very light on the skin. This one definitely has a lot more pigment. It has like a true luminosity to it, super dewy, really glowy. It's gorgeous. It blends out in seconds. So typically I do use this on days where I want a little bit more of an intense bronze, and the ColourPop is what I'll reach for when I want something really natural. But this is the best cream bronzer. It's so good, and it's only $8. I know people are predicting that powder highlighter is coming back in 2023. For me, it never really left. I feel like I never really got into liquid or cream highlighters until just a few months ago. I was kind of late to the game. So I do still have powder highlighters I love. I'm always just going to be in love with the Becca ones. I almost bought the new Rare Beauty one. But as we head into 2023, I think I'm going to be focusing on liquid highlighter. The Flower Beauty Spotlight liquid highlighters are so good. I mean, these are not necessarily older favorites. I picked this one up a few months ago, and I've been using it nonstop ever since. I have the shade Opal. I also have the shade Gleam. I grabbed this one, and I do love this one as well, but these are so pretty on the skin. Again, they're very effortless to use. Now, you can layer this product on top of powder or directly on top of other creams or your foundation. Either way, it looks really good. It's very blendable. Sometimes I'll use my finger just to pat this in, but usually I use the e.l.f. Putty Blush Brush, and I feel like this is the perfect size for highlighter. This is also great for powder too. But the bristles are really nice for just blending liquid highlighter in. I think they actually created this to be used with their putty blushes, but this is not like an ideal blush brush for me. This is such a small brush for blush. I mean, maybe if you have like really small, dainty cheeks, I have very round cheeks, and I like something a little bit bigger like this, but this for me is like perfect for highlight. It would maybe be nice for contour as well, but I really love using it for highlight. So the Flower Beauty highlighters are coming with me this year. I did try the Charlotte Tilbury Beauty Light ones a few months ago, and the highlighter is good, but honestly, the Flower Beauty ones, I think I like them a little bit better. I wouldn't say there are major differences. I do feel like this is a pretty spot-on dupe. So I would say save your money and just go with Flower Beauty. But Flower Beauty does not make blushes. I hope they launch blushes in this packaging and this formula, because this is gorgeous. This is the shade Pinkgasm. I just love this. I think it looks really natural on the skin. Again, it's very lightweight, so it melts into the skin in such a natural way. Like, it doesn't add any texture to my skin at all. It's very smooth, super blendable, really, really glowy. I do feel like when I use liquid blush, again, inevitably I feel like it kind of almost erases a little bit of coverage that my foundation laid down. I've always found that to be the case, because if you're adding like a liquid on top of a liquid and you didn't set that liquid into place, it kind of moves things around a little bit. But for me, again, it's not a big deal, because I feel like it just kind of adds to that more natural look. And this color is gorgeous. I know they have a few other shades, but do you guys know of a drugstore dupe or any other drugstore brands that have something like this? Because I would like to purchase additional shades. I don't know that this is something I'll go through super quickly, so maybe it would be worth the splurge, but I would love to find a more affordable alternative. So for eyeshadow, I'm definitely cutting back on eyeshadow palettes. In fact, I really don't plan on purchasing a lot of eyeshadow palettes this year. I might try a few from drugstore brands if they launch a new formula. There are maybe a couple of high-end palettes I'll buy, like if Natasha Denona launches a new one I really want, or Patrick Ta launches Major Dimension 3, which I heard some rumors about. I might grab those. But for the most part, I'm really enjoying single eyeshadows. The ColourPop Super Shock shadows, the Flower Beauty Chrome Crush Pressed Pigments have been one of my go-tos. I'm wearing this one today. This one is in the color Quartz. It's just really soft and natural on the eyes, so typically I will take a bronzer. Even the ColourPop Super Shock bronzer, I'll blend this into the crease and then take a single shadow and place it all over the lid, and that's it. I love eyeshadow, but I have a drawer full of eyeshadow palettes I really need to focus on this year. And You know, even though I do love palettes, I feel like single shadows are just quick and easy, and I've really been enjoying them for day to day. The ColourPop or the Flower Beauty Chrome Crush Pressed Pigments are kind of expensive for a single shadow, so I would recommend waiting until you get them on sale if you do want to try them out, but they're nice. They feel like a regular powder shadow. I know some people don't like the ColourPop Super Shocks because they're a little bit creamier. I love them, but if you're not a fan of those and you still want like a really pretty shimmery single shadow, these are a great option. The last thing I'm going to be bringing with me into 2023 is a lipstick. I have not really been into like a regular lipstick in a little while. I've been wearing a ton of lip oils, a ton of lip glosses, and that's definitely still something I'll be using. I'm bringing pretty much all of them with me into the new year, but there are days where I want more pigment, and I feel like the Buxom Full Force Plumping lipsticks are my favorite. These were kind of like, I don't know, like, how do I explain it? They're a favorite and I didn't realize they were a favorite, but I wear them all the time and I reach for them all the time. In fact, I feel like I've used up like half of this one. It takes me forever to go through lip products. Same with this one. I use them quite a bit. I'm wearing the shade Fly Girl on my lips today. I do have a little bit of a Fenty gloss on top, but these are perfect on days where I want a little bit more color and I want something that lasts a little bit longer than a lip gloss. They're very comfortable, very smoothing, really hydrating, and they have really pretty color payoff too. And I just love them. I think they are one of the best lipstick formulas out there. So I'm definitely planning on giving these a little bit more love in 2023 as well. So that's everything I wanted to share with you in today's video. Just some really good products that I love that I'll definitely be using more as we head into the new year. And I definitely want to make more of an effort just to kind of focus on my current favorites, my collection, instead of always running out and buying the next best thing. I will be reviewing new makeup on my channel because that is part of my job here on YouTube, but I feel like I can also enjoy what I have while simultaneously trying some new products and not every single launch out there. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm planning on uploading 3 times a week, Sunday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and then also uploading some YouTube shorts as well. But my longer videos will be Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays in January and February, and then I might switch it up in March. But thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys very soon with a new video. Bye.